Hi guys, so today we are going to see that why we should be positive because the world is finally going to recover from this pandemic of COVID-19, and I'm going to prove that statistically by showing you some data which has been collected over a period of 3 months. So in the present status, if we want to look into the number of uh, infections and number of coronavirus cases that are present, we can definitely visit this website, which is the worldometers.info oblique coronavirus. So if you just type worldometer in Google, you can find this site, and this site is almost updated daily. As you can see on the top, it has been updated on the 1st of April 2020, that is today. So let's look into the world scenario, and we can see at this hour in the evening there are 8,58,892 cases. The total number of deaths reported has been 42,158, and the recovered cases are 1,78,100. Well, you might be thinking that recovered cases are much less in number, but we just need to look into another figure which is called in mild condition. So if you look into this, these are the total number of active cases, and the mild condition is 6,05,736. So if you look into this mild condition, that's also a very important figure. And look into the seriousness or the critical condition, which is actually 5% of total number of active cases. So the closed cases for now is this many, and then we are going to just see some kind of graphical representation of the same. So if we just look into the graphical condition, and these are the total number of cases that we have, and this is on the rise, obviously, because the total number of cases are getting detected daily. So if you look into this, this is on the rise. So if you look into this graph, it's not very encouraging, but in very short time I'm going to tell you some encouraging figures from China. So let's keep going, and then we can see the total number of deaths is touching. So these are all graphical representation, but just let's have a look at the data right now. So if you look into the country here, the country which is having the maximum number of cases right now is USA, and the total number of cases is 1,88,578, right? But let's look into some additional figures here. If you look at the extreme left, the first case was reported on January 20, and the number of cases in USA is still rising, whereas for China the number of cases is 81,518. And if you just go to the left, we can see that the first reported case was on January 10th. So now, as all of you know, that China has already recovered a lot, and taking example of China, we can look into the picture. Now, if you just look for India, today in the morning the number of cases was around 1300, but now it has jumped to not 1397. In fact, the total number of cases in India right now is 1637, and almost 10 deaths has been reported today. So now let's just look into some more data. Let's go into the figure for China, and let's try to find out some positive news there. So look into the cases of China. There are 81,554 cases, and as I'm saying, there was, because the number of new reported cases are much less in number for now. So if you go further, the total number of deaths reported is 3,312, and recovered is 76,238. So that's a very astonishing figure, because if the total case reported was 81,554, 76,238 has already recovered. So now the active cases remain just 2,000 out of 81,000. So China is doing something because of which the number of cases has drastically gone down. We really don't know what's the reason. Maybe it will be very soon out to the world. But let's go and check something else now. Now, if we go down and look into the daily new cases, you have a pattern there. You see the number of cases are rising. On one fine day, that is on February 12th, it was maximum, and then it started to dip. So it was rising, and then it started to dip. So you can look into the condition that finally it came in control. China reported their first case on January 10th. That was patient 0. Now it is January 22nd, and now we are on April 1st, and you can see the new cases report has drastically come down. In fact, recently there has not been any more cases. So let's look into this. So this is the graph which I wanted to tell you. If you look into the peak of this, active cases in China, you see on near about February 15, February 18, the total number of cases was 57,000, so that 58,000 approx, so that was the peak. And if you consider over a range of January 22nd to March 31st, we have seen that it has gone up and then come down. So there is definitely a pattern here that the number of cases will finally come down one day. Now it depends on how long we have to wait for this to come down. For China as such, on an approximate level, it was about 3 months. So maybe after 3 months we can expect the number of cases throughout the world will come down. But it will depend, because some of the countries have got the disease after in the month of Feb, or in the month of even new cases also coming up in different countries. So it will take and probably the entire year. So if you look into the number of deaths that has been there, about 3,000 in China. So China has lost a number of lives, and so let's go and look into USA now. So let's look into the data for USA. So you can see is USA as of now, the total number of cases reported is 1,88,639, and the deaths reported is more than 4,000. So that has crossed China, because now that's the maximum number of deaths reported in any country. Sorry, the maximum number of coronavirus cases in any country, not that's even other countries are more. If we just look into this a different country, let's go for the number of deaths reported. If you look here, you can see that Italy has got maximum number of deaths reported. So Italy is this is a list where no one wants to be at the top, everyone wants to be at the bottom, definitely. So let's just go back to the data for USA. So if you look into this, the state wise or the region wise has been given, but let's go further down and let's go back to this graph where we see that active cases in United States. Now look at this, active cases in United States. Right now the number of active cases as on March 30, it has increased even more now, is approximately 1,77,000, and as you can see from the graph, it's basically on the rise. So it's basically on the rise. So what we want is this graph should go up and then finally come down, that is what is our aim right now, or what we want actually. But let's see, let's hope this works. So let's go back now to India. Now please remember this figure. The number of cases, active cases as of now is approximately 1,77,000. And if you look into USA, the first case was reported on January 20. And for India, let's go to India now. And the first case, and this is India. So this is India, 1,600 cases approx. This data is not yet updated. So if you go for India now, the number of the first reported case was on January 29th. So first reported case was on January 29th. So we have reported our first case, and it's almost similar to a timeline of US. And so let's go back to this graph for India now. Now look into this, 45 deaths have been reported, and we have recovered with 148 cases. And the total number of cases today as on 1st April evening time is 1,637. The latest cases have been come up in Assam. 4 new cases has been reported in Guwahati. So let's just go back to that graph again, and let's look for India. Now you see for US, the total cases or the active cases was approximately 1,77,000. For India, the case as on March 30 is 1,239. So you can see that the number of cases are much lesser in number. It's a huge, there is a huge difference. So what does it mean? That we are under good control, and hopefully with the home quarantine we have till April 14th, we can be in a better position than many countries in the world. So if we just keep digging in, what we can do is we can do a basic comparison between United States, China and India. United States still rising, but the number of cases is much more. India still rising, but this number of cases is still under control, so we can be a bit positive about it. The most positive part, however, is can be taken from this data, this statistical data, that the number of cases does rise and then finally it comes down, and it took approximately 3 months for China. So what we can expect is, if we have the first case on, let's say, January 29th, from here we can have the graph from February 15th. So if we take February 15th, March 15th, April 15th, it will be 2 months, and maybe May. So on May 15th, we might be completing our so that's 05, we will be completing our 3 months. And if we are maintaining a proper guideline given by the government, we may expect that by May 15th the number of cases will come down for sure. But let me just give you one additional info on this. This is the information which is again with a reference. China recently has said that they will delay their college entrance examination. The reason is China still fears that there can be a second wave of coronavirus. So there is a chance that China will have a second wave of coronavirus infection. This was actually expected because after this, China has come to a normal standstill position. There is a possibility that more people will have an influx. Because many are actually abroad, so there will be the travelers who will be returning from abroad for fueling new cases in the country. So even if China has recovered, China still fears that there might be more number of cases. So what we can do right now is, as far as India is concerned, and we want that this number of cases should not increase, avoid public gathering, be indoors, and follow government instructions. Thank you.